from the Slenderman trailer. This movie will be coming out this summer and we are going to be talking about Slenderman a little bit further down on the list, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Hey guys, I'm Corey McGinley and welcome back to the Most Amazing Top 5. Before we get started, I want to remind you to stay tuned until the end of the video as I'll be answering your questions and reading comments. Also, don't forget to leave your questions down below so I can answer them in an upcoming video. Alright, let's get started on our list of the top 5 scariest urban legends in America. Starting off at our number 5 spot, Bloody Mary. Yeah, this is one that I'm really not a fan of whatsoever. So the legend has it that an evil spirit of Bloody Mary can be summoned by chanting Bloody Mary 3 times into a mirror in a dark room that's only lit by a candle. After you say her name 3 times, it's said that the spirit of Mary will appear in the mirror as either a corpse covered in blood, a ghost, or a witch. Once you see her and look into her eyes, she leans forward and either claws your eyes out or she pulls you into the mirror and keeps your soul in there with her for all eternity. Yeah, this is a game that some teens play at sleepovers. Personally, I never have because I believe in spirits and I'm not taking the risk. There are many origin stories when it comes to Mary. Some people say that she was a witch that dabbled in the black arts, and some people say that she was a regular woman who was killed in a car crash. Then there's the most popular opinion, which is that she's Mary Worth of the Salem witch trials. But regardless, it's probably best just not to say her name in a mirror. Coming in at number 4, aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light? So in this urban legend we have 2 college roommates. One is outgoing and likes to party and we will call her Meg, and the other mostly keeps to herself and she's kind of a bookworm and we'll call her Julie. These 2 were in the same science class and had a midterm the next day, but that night there was also a party, so the more outgoing roommate Meg goes to the party and tries to get her roommate Julie to come out, but Julie decides to stay in and study. So it's 2 AM when Meg gets back to the dorm and she goes to turn the light on but stops herself because she doesn't want to wake Julie. At this point, Meg is kind of worried about the midterm the next day, but she figures she'll wake up early in the morning and ask Julie to study with her. In the AM, Meg's alarm clock goes off. She wakes up and goes to wake Julie. Julie's on her stomach and doesn't seem to wake up. So Meg flips her over and Julie has this wide-eyed look on her face. So Meg then turns the desk lamp on to see better and she sees there's blood all over Julie's books. She then looks back at Julie and realizes she's been stabbed multiple times and that she's dead. Meg sets into a panic and goes to run for help but trips. When she's on the ground, she looks up and sees written on the wall in Julie's blood, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" Yes, her roommate was being murdered when she walked in. I remember hearing this one when I was younger and it really freaked me the F out. At number 3, the clown statue. In this urban legend that surfaced in the early 2000s, we learn about a teen girl who's babysitting for a wealthy family. So this family has a huge mansion and the parents of the children tell the babysitter that once the kids are asleep she can watch TV, but it will have to be in this one specific room in the house because they don't want her wandering around. And there's the potential she could get lost. Yes, the house was that big. So she gets the kids to bed and then goes to the assigned room to watch TV. For the first few minutes things are fine, but then she gets this creepy feeling like she's being watched. She then looks off into the corner of the room and notices this little clown statue facing her and staring directly at her. She just gets more and more freaked out by the statue that she ends up calling the children's father and asks if she can switch rooms because the clown statue is freaking her out. The dad then, with panic in his voice, tells her to grab the kids, go to the neighbor's house and call the police. So she does just that. Once outside of the house she calls the dad back and asks what's going on. He tells her the family doesn't have a clown statue, but that the kids have been complaining about a clown watching them as they sleep for weeks. And up until now the parents just assumed the kids were having nightmares and imagining things. The police were called to the mansion and they told the family that the clown statue was actually a little person dressed in a costume who had been watching the family for months. During the day he would lurk up in the attic and at night he would come down and sneak around the house. Coming in at number 2, Backseat Killer. In this story we have a woman who is driving home late one night after having some drinks with her friends. She's driving on a secluded highway when she notices a pair of headlights coming up behind her. At first it seems although the car is going to pass her, so it pulls up beside her. She notices that it's a man driving the car. But then almost immediately he pumps on the brakes and goes back to following behind her. And right away she gets extremely nervous. I mean, you can't blame her. Here she is driving in a secluded area, not another car in sight, and then this man is just following her. The man then speeds up and gets dangerously close to her back bumper, and he starts flashing his lights. At this point the female driver is freaking out. She doesn't look back and she just rushes to get home. The car car follows her all the way home, the whole time flashing his lights and even putting his high beams on, all the way until they're in her driveway. Once home, she runs from her car to the front door. Once she's at the door, she looks back and she sees this man getting out of his car and running towards her. He then notices that she's nervous, so he stops and yells at her to call the police and lock the door. Once the police arrive, she finds the reason the man was really following her home. Turns out the man behind her was actually trying to save her. You see, when he pulled up beside her to switch lanes, he saw the silhouette of a man with a butcher knife rising up from the back seat. Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie, I watch way too much Criminal Minds and like true crime shows, so I'm always scared if I'm out late at night someone's just going to be like hiding in my back seat. That's why I always check. Yes, it might be a little paranoid, but better safe than sorry, right? Alright, and before we jump into number 1, I just want to remind you guys to please show us some love by giving this video a big thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. And also stay tuned until the end of the video as I'll be answering your questions. And if you would like to be featured in an upcoming video, then make sure you leave those questions below. And in at number 1, Slenderman. Now I talked about Slenderman on our creepypasta list as well. He's just on all the scary lists, and for good reason. But I'll leave the link for that list below so you can check it out after. So Slenderman appeared online back in 2009. He has a featureless face and he's really skinny and is abnormally tall, with really long limbs and fingers that he uses to scratch at children's windows to wake them from their sleep. He lives out in the woods as he likes to blend in with the trees and darkness. Slenderman is said to prey on children in particular, but also those who become obsessed with his existence. He stays in the woods until a child makes eye contact with him or dreams of him. Once that happens, he comes to find you and follows you wherever you go. Once he captures you, you'll wake up and he will be standing above you. He asks you one question, and if you get it right, he breaks both your arms and legs. But if you get it wrong, he will stick his fingers down your throat and pull out your heart. The only way to escape his torture is to serve him and carry out what he wants done. There have also been stories in the news of teenagers killing their friends because they claim Slenderman told them to do it. Another teen set her house on fire because she was instructed by Slenderman to do so. So yeah, a lot of bizarre stories happening around this legend. Also, as I mentioned on the other list, there's even a Slenderman movie that's coming out this summer, so that's terrifying. Apparently it's going to follow 14 girls who perform a ritual to debunk the lore of a tall, thin, horrifying figure known as the Slenderman. They soon fear that the legend is true when one of them suddenly goes missing. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be saying that. Alright, it's that time of the video where I answer your questions and read comments, so let's get started. These are from our creepypasta list. Marco12 Gaming RBLX said, "This was great and extra spooky. Thank you very much, Marco, glad you liked it." Katie Cantrell said, "I would not go in the no-end house for $1 million. Also, there are several other creepypastas, so could you do a part 2? I agree, Katie, not even worth it for $1 million. And if the creepypasta list does well, then yes, of course we will do a part 2. So make sure you tell all of your friends to check out the video." Next, Mimi Moore said, "Hell nah to the nah nah nah." Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Next, Legendary Saiyan said, "This is seriously scary." I know, I actually got pretty freaked out scripting it. We have lots of spooky lists this month, so make sure you guys have that notification bell turned on so you don't miss one. K9 Felt said, "I love your channel. You are my favorite. Please do more vids." Well, thank you so much for watching, and yes, of course we will. Alright, that's all the questions I had for you today. If I didn't get to you, then no worries. Make sure you turn on that notification bell and tune into our next video because I might be answering it over there. Until then, let me know what other lists you would like to see below, and please show us some love by giving this video a big thumbs up and subscribing to our channel, and I will catch all of you in the next one.